Romulus Planning Commission for Monday, September 18th, 2023. It's called to order. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 is roll call.
Madam Chairman, roll call. Mr. Frederick?
Here.
Let's see, Ms. Roscoe?
Here.
Mr. Krova?
Here.
Ms. Freitag?
Here.
I'm here. Mr. Gladfelty, Ms. Jimison, and Bobo Ade are excused, and undetermined about Mr. Long.
Correct.
So
He did not check in, so.
just say absent or not.
Yeah, just put him down as, he's absent, right?
Yes.
Of course, he may show up. Item 3 is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Frederick, to approve the agenda as presented. Mr. McAnally.
Yes.
Mr. Frederick.
Yes.
Nobody's here. Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Who am I missing?
Krova?
Oh, Krova. Mr. Krova.
Yes.
Oh, you're up here. Okay. Chair votes yes, the agenda is approved. Item 4 is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Motion from Mr. Krova, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to approve the minutes from the meeting held on July 17, 2023. Any comments? Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Minutes are approved. Item 5, comments from the public. Comments from the public on non-agenda items. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on anything that's not on our agenda tonight? What could be almost anything? Seeing no one, we'll move along. Public hearings, and we did have a public hearing listed, but the applicant has requested to postpone his meeting.
He is here tonight if you want to have him come up.
Oh, they're here? Oh, okay. Did you want to come up and tell us a little bit about it? It's up to you.
You don't have to, they've got your.
You don't have to.
We've got your letter.
We got your letter and everything, so you don't have to.
Sam and I are very good friends. We're actually like brothers, and we met each other here. Carol is doing a great job in monitoring what's happening, and they're going to be, they're working on the plans, and they're just waiting to. The problem started out with some issues with some of the delays that occurred, but everything's going to move forward, and hopefully we're going to take care of some of the wrinkles that are part of the plans, and then we'll go from there. But we'll be in communications.
Okay.
All right? But it's an exciting project. It's well supported by and strongly endorsed by the airports, and the airports pointing out the need for this type of project. So hopefully we can facilitate when the time comes.
Can you
All right?
put your name?
pardon
I'm sorry, I need your name.
I
to get on.
forgot.
That's okay, I did too.
That's okay. My name is Ali. It's A-L-I, Dagger, D-A-G-H-E-R. And my office address is 14207 Ford Road, Dearborn, 4126.
Thank
Right?
you.
But
And if you guys
stay-
could sign in.
Yeah, we will do that.
Thank
Stay
you.
tuned. I think that we can do some things together. All right?
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, just a question.
Sure.
Are we to postpone this till next meeting, or just postpone it until some point when they're ready?
Thank you. I was going to suggest that. I think the notice said until October, but then we then are responsible for noticing for October, and if for some reason it doesn't get done, we want to give them the ability to wait till November. So option B that you
Okay.
just mentioned would be the best for your motion, if you would.
And Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion to postpone SLU 2023 001, 002, and 003, SPR 2022-36, until such a time as the petitioner submission is complete and ready to be presented.
Second.
Second, Mr. Frederick. Motion for Mr. McAnally, support of Mr. Frederick, to postpone SLU 2023-01, 02, 03, and SPR 202236, Safeway Oil Service Center. Postponing it till the October meeting,
Until
or until they're ready?
such time they're ready to present.
Okay, until they're prepared, okay, gotcha. Any discussion? Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Crova?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, it is postponed. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Okay, now, old business. Anybody have any old business? Nothing here. New business? No new business. PC cases involving advice or input from us?
That's going to come up under Jeff's items.
Under
The
Jeff's
text
items?
amendments. Text amendments.
Okay, here we go. Get your list out. Reports on interest designation.
Well, that would be me already.
Yeah.
Just want to remind everybody that this weekend is yard sale weekend in Romulus. And that would be Thursday, the 21st through the 24th. So there's lists on practically every Facebook page that has anything to do with Romulus. Plus, you can go underneath the romulus.gov and find it there, too. Should say romulusgov.com.
Is that it?
So, yeah, that's it.
Anybody else have anything on their designations? Okay. Item 11 is communications. And we have two. We have the project status report, which is, it's getting quite big.
It is growing by the day.
Pardon me?
I said it is growing by the day.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's all good stuff.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions, anything on the project? Any questions, anybody? Mr. Crova, any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Ready to go? Okay. Item B is TA 2023-001, zoning ordinance text amendment for Article 3, single-family residential district section, and detached accessory building size section. And you're going to do that?
We apologize. That actually should have been under new business because you guys are going to discuss it tonight. So we didn't know if we were going to have quorum, so.
Yeah, so, yeah, it doesn't make.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference at this point.
Yeah.
So, but yes, feel free to go in and discuss it.
So with those ordinances, the 3.04 accessory structures and 3.05 fences, we've been having some internal discussions and seen some different projects come through that we knew might make sense for the resident, but we always have had to move them towards BZA because we couldn't, go against the ordinance. So we were looking for a way to possibly look at putting some language in the ordinance to where it gives us the opportunity to administratively look into these, and if there's no negative impact and it's something that makes sense. For example, there was one, and we had this discussion with the BZA at the last meeting. For example, there was a accessory structure that had came through. Guy wanted to build I believe it was a 30 by 40 pole barn. 1,500 square foot is the max. He had 1.6 acres, I think, and he already had a detached garage But the way the layout was, everything would look nice, it would be good. The guy actually had some cars and stuff that were outside that he was gonna put inside. And, but when he came in for a permit, we ended up having to deny it, and he had to come to BZA and request the variance, which it was very sensible, so he got the variance. It's just, we're looking for a way that in cases like that, we could do something possibly administratively to maybe give that permit, not every single time, but for the ones that are, you know, that we
Right.
know that when we bring it before the board, it's gonna be something that makes sense. And I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. We did not discuss, we were discussing at the BZA, Jerry, if you remember, what possible maybe percentages or something like that, and what we added in these was, if it was within 40% of the square footage of the building size and 25% of the height. Now, those numbers are up for discussion. We just thought maybe that's a good starting point. It doesn't mean that every single one that size would get approved. We may still make, if it's something we see administratively that doesn't really fit or make a whole lot of sense, we would still push them towards having to come get a variance. But it just gives us the opportunity for the ones that are pretty easy to see that they would work, to not have to make the resident wait.
Madam Chairman.
Mr. Reagan?
Just reading it, I mean, it says the building department may administratively approve, so that doesn't mean every case. But I think you better be very concise on the cases that you will approve administratively, just because everybody's gonna want to be done that way. They don't want to have to come before.
I know.
And the way it looks right now, you said it, but it doesn't really say it in here, by more than 40% or the maximum, maybe you should add in their building height.
Yeah, we can do that.
Just be as clear as possible for
Yeah.
a layman trying to understand what they have to do.
Okay, yeah.
Do you think criteria needs to be added here? So when you say may administrate, is that what you're getting at? That there's a percentage number, but are there, in terms of the other, there's
Well-
this thing that talks about not negatively impacting surrounding properties.
You want to be able to have somebody understand, one, how they can calculate whether or not it can be done administratively.
Okay, oh, so you're talking about a process.
I'm
in
talking
terms of how to
process and
figure it,
understanding
right,
by the person
as
coming
opposed
before
to
you.
how it can be done in.
Because I'm thinking that this is going to be mostly Joe citizens trying to navigate
yeah.
this ordinance.
Yeah,
Which is a good point, because that's been one of the things that we do struggle with, that total, that, you know, adding up the total amount of what's there
of
and
all
what
the
counts and
accessory
what doesn't.
structures, yes.
I love the idea of this being done administratively, same with the fencing.
Good, okay, that's good.
But I think we need to get the wording so that anybody can understand, or you
Okay.
can show them and explain it to them quickly.
Yeah, try to make it, so get the wording to where it's crystal clear, that way it's
Or even have a
very easy.
graphic.
And we can work on that, we can work on that.
We could add a graphic, that this is what you do, you add them all up, and
Yeah,
that's your total.
Yeah, what I've seen, the problem comes in where they have a detached garage, so they don't realize they have to count that
Right.
exactly.
as an accessory
Exactly.
building.
Yep.
Right, right.
So you need to probably put in their total structure square footage.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, which that's gonna get into this section over here, the total area of all detached. So it's there, so it may be something, maybe including a graphic or
yeah,
something
maybe
to
just adding
describe.
something, adding a graphic, adding a little more detail on how to
Language.
calculate.
And then,
Existing and proposed.
Okay,
yeah,
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 okay,
So they can't deny they have an existing structure, they know what they want to put in. And you add those two together, and there's your
add them
number.
together.
yeah. Yeah, maybe we can add in a graphic in like a example of this is how you calculate, this is already here.
And you
this
just
is-
label,
Yeah.
you just label it existing and then new, and then you do your calculation so you
Yeah.
can show
Yeah.
them
Yeah,
how that works.
no, that's a great idea.
And if their calculation for their existing, let's say detached garage, and their proposed structure goes over the threshold, well then, BZA.
Right,
Unless they want to tune it down a little bit, then not go to BZA.
Yeah.
It gives them the option at that point.
And these are, and I thought kind of, because a lot of these are more
Make
with,
it breeze away.
they're not necessarily in subdivisions, they're more with somebody that's got maybe an acre or an acre and a half.
A lot of this is rural character overlay stuff.
Yes, a lot of it is, and I thought maybe, should we add that to it? Should it just be for those size properties? We could always add that as well, or I didn't know what your guys' feeling was on that. I mean, some have been, like, we did use the chart for the, like, I think this was the last 10 years, and some variances were pretty big, and some were not as big.
Didn't we come up with, about half of them were on the small lots, under an acre, and then the other half were these, you know, the ones that we, over in the rural character area where the lots are bigger.
But most of them, I think there's only been, so there, on this list, there's only 2 that are just over a quarter acre. Everything else was about a half acre or bigger.
Yeah, bigger, so.
And I think it's difficult to navigate that one.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This was a good exercise for, you guys, I'm sure remember Redevelopment Ready. I think many of you went to training and helped get certification. This is one of the tasks that we have, is to keep up with our ordinances, and one great way to do it is to go back, look at your variances that you've granted, you know, over the last several years. What did we say, 10 years?
Yeah, I think
She
so.
went back for both of these. These have been a pretty popular variant, so not only does this help get it cleaned up so he can administer it, but we can then go back, and when we've got to do our annual reports for that, say, yes, we did do it, and in fact, we made some amendments because of doing it, so.
I imagine there's a few things on here that doesn't show in the report because people went there and they applied and they were denied and never really pushed it any further.
That's a
Yeah,
good
never
point.
applied.
That's
Yeah,
a
for
good
BZA.
point, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we don't know how many were out there, but yeah, when people hear the fee, you know, going to BZA, and if it's just a matter of shaving it down a little bit or making some other arrangements.
And we do try, when things come in, if somebody's trying to do something that's just not gonna work or fit, we do try to have those conversations with the applicant, even during the denial. This is, you know, nobody else in the neighborhood's ever had that size of a building. It would be, you know, and we don't tell them that they would not get a variance, we just tell them that it's very, you know what I mean, it would be something that's unprecedented.
Yeah, I'm in support. I think it's a good idea.
And we can work on, between now and the next meeting, we can work on some clear language and some spelling out with some graphic and different things and how it's really gonna work and how to add up the square footage and everything. And then with fences, same thing, to make sure they understand that clear vision on the corner lots and, you know, make sure they're not, when they're coming out of the driveway, they have a view of the sidewalk and all that. We can,
Easily just find somebody somewhere that's not involved with building and read it. Do you think you understand this?
yeah, that's true.
The fence one we've struggled with, and there is a graphic. You know? So,
Well, I get it. The idea is somebody blocking your view as you're trying to make a turn
right.
Oh, yeah.
with height or corner.
Yeah.
Because even a low fence can block if you
Yeah.
have a screening on it.
And you're always worried about the kid on a little bike or something coming down the
Yes, you
sidewalk.
do.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I agree with the fact that, like you said, sometimes it's all about how their property is laid out to begin with. I mean, you didn't use those exact words, but, you know, it depends on where everything is already placed, the house, the garage, if the other structure is gonna really fit in there and work.
Yes,
So that makes total sense to me. Where one neighbor it might not work in their yard at all, it's gonna work in somebody else's.
yeah.
And the other part of this is that everything within government seems to be tie you down, tie you down. This gives a little more freedom for the citizens to have access to government to help them accomplish something without cumbersome meetings and going before boards.
Yeah,
Well, or in a 1-month delay.
Yeah,
because of the schedule of the meeting.
And I think this is a good thing.
We were hoping that.
yeah,
What we also talked about too, during the BZA was
So while this is all like pending and up in the air and being nailed down, if somebody was to come in the meanwhile, that they'd be advised that if they wait just a little bit longer, they wouldn't have to come to the meeting.
Yeah. Hold on your plans.
Yeah,
Not like, I went to do that last month.
right, yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that meeting. It was pretty interesting.
And most people aren't coming to just build to build. They're building for a purpose, like you
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Person's got all these cars in the yards, whatever, they want them in an enclosed structure, or a boat, or whatever. And it makes perfect sense.
Good. So I'm guessing that means that you're okay with us scheduling a public hearing for October on this?
As long as you have the wording done.
Okay.
And we'll bring it more clear language and with some
That's what I mean, we
graphics
have
and
to
everything.
have, as long as, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, I think you understand where we're at. I think
Yep.
it's a good thing.
Prior to coming for a public hearing, Steve Hitchcock, city attorney, will review it, and, you know, if there's anybody else that you think needs to
Right.
take a look at it. But we'll get it for you then, good.
Can you think of any example where they would meet this criteria, you could administratively approve it, but it would have to go to the zoning board, maybe list those type of examples in there? Maybe, because that really could.
I know it gets a little tough when,
Yeah,
with the administrative,
Yeah.
but,
thinking hypothetically.
We have language that says if there's anything, I say put the word goofy in the ordinance, but there's a provision with similar use determination that we have in our ordinance that here's the criteria, but if administratively, there's something about it, something that we,
I mean,
I think what you're asking, that we
Yeah.
can't predict, it gives you the right to bring it here.
we could add in there
Because
just,
it would kind of cover your guys'
Yeah.
because all of a sudden you feel that this one has to go to the BZA, and the homeowner's gonna start saying, well, why? And if you are approved all these other ones, now all of a sudden, you're not approving this one, you're sending this one to the BZA, so it's
Yeah.
almost what,
well,
something
I
to trigger it.
would, I could put in there something like, because
I think
obviously if
that's kind of what
they,
Dan, what you were getting at too.
Well, there's always going to be, we have a set criteria. Once you make that clear, then it should be pretty obvious when they're outside of that boundary,
Yeah.
even slightly. And then we should have the opportunity to then say, we recommend you go to these.
yeah. And I know I could add in there just to make sure it's clear that if they're not meeting setbacks or lot coverage or anything like that in any way, they would still have to get variance for that.
Right.
And we could come up with some sort of an idea of something that may, like, some.
fallback.
A fallback, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's language in here, I'll find it for you.
A side note too, we also at BZA discussed that they would have to have like maybe letters from each neighbor on each side.
For building and fencing?
Not, no, yes, but not, in support of their project.
Yeah, then, funny you bring the letters up. Fencing, we've been working on quite a few fence dilemmas, I guess you would say. The whole property line thing seems to be a big deal for some reason recently. Fences that were put up 15 years ago, and now there's new homeowners, and the surveys have discrepancies in them. They each have one. One shows the fence is 8 inches over from the other one, and so we are working on something with the neighbor letters and the homeowner or whoever's agreement that's putting the fence in, something about stating that it's their responsibility to make certain that the fence is on the property line. And then, because what's been happening recently is we're going circles with different places about old fences that might be a little off for some reason or another, that might have been put up a long time ago, and that's always been a battle every city that I've ever been involved in. It's always been something that's hard to try to figure out, but it's one thing we are trying to work on that. Because the neighbor letters work great until 10 years down the road, both of those people have moved and sold their houses. And then the neighbor letters, if it comes up 15 years down the road, then the neighbor letters aren't really that big, they don't really matter anymore, because the two neighbors that said, yeah, we agree with this fence, they're gone, and now the new people are saying, no, we don't like this fence.
Or the current neighbor that says, I don't like this fence because I don't like this neighbor.
But this is just like when we change
Yeah.
zoning, zoning goes with the property, not the
Yeah.
habitat.
Yeah,
So it'd be almost similar to that. I mean, it was already agreed upon by the two parties that installed the fence, or the one or the other did.
You know who'd be interesting on this conversation is Mr. Long, because I think there's been some neighborhood disagreements about things. And it'll be interesting to see what the city attorney says about that too, because you could just get two neighbors that don't like each other, and to make their variance or their, in essence, approval dependent on other issues totally unrelated to a fence might be, I
We
don't
do,
know.
but we do often ask for letters from neighbors for
And you could-
different,
that
for
could go in
different
there.
fences and things.
They would have to explain their reason for saying no,
Yeah,
not just, I don't like this person.
yeah, if they, I won't sign it.
Because that's not a reasonable
Yeah.
response.
Yeah. The fence isn't pretty enough.
Kind of almost the same rules that we have to play by.
Yeah,
Did you get a legal opinion from Steve yet on that?
no.
Yeah. About the neighbors.
5 minutes.
Anybody else?
Any more discussion, any questions?
No, I look forward to seeing it.
All right, no, thank you guys for your input.
Sure. We're happy to oblige anytime. So if we're done with that, I can move right along to item 12,
Notice the time?
which is, we got 3 more minutes.
No, we don't have a minimum.
She said
So-
I said
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah, she did.
You guys are good.
Okay. Item 12 is adjournment.
You guys are really.
So moved.
Support.
Motion from Mr. McAnally, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to adjourn. Any discussion? Mr. McAnally.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Frederick.
Yes.
Mr. Crova.
Yes.